Walking Dead series finale is over. Rest in Pieces is the episode we're going to be talking about today, as well as just an overall review for the show, its finale, this last season, and how I overall feel about The Walking Dead. Now, hi, my name is Zach. If you're new here, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button because I love talking movies and TV, but I also love seeing your guys' thoughts down below in the comment section. So if you've been along for the ride for The Walking Dead, let me know. There will be spoilers included for the entire show of The Walking Dead, as well as theories for what I think is going to be happening going forward. And going into this episode, I had a couple things I wanted to see. One, I wanted to see Rick and Michonne. Two, I wanted a very much a conclusive nature to a majority of these characters. And three, I didn't want the episode to feel rushed. Now, getting into that, my biggest issue with this is I did feel like the episode was rushed. In fact, I feel like the last 8 episodes felt rushed overall, which sucked because this is the final season of The Walking Dead, quote unquote, because as you saw at the very end, the Walking Dead universe is expanding. We have 3 spin-offs coming: Maggie Negan, Dead City, Daryl Dixon, as well as the Rick and Michonne spin-off, which is like the thing that I'm the most excited about out of everything that they're possibly doing. But they also have Fear the Walking Dead, which I'm not going to talk about. I don't watch that show. But overall, I liked this finale. I thought this was a very good finale. Is it the best finale in the world? No. It didn't have all the characters that I would want. And just so you guys know, I am a Walking Dead purist. I've watched this show from day one. This show has meant the world to me for a lot of different reasons. It is the first show that I've ever watched day one and continue to watch from day one and not had to catch up later on or tune in the middle and then catch up on all the seasons. No, this is the first show in my entire life, like from when I started this show as a kid and now however many years later it's finally ended. And again, ending is quote-unquote quotations around there because we are clearly still not getting that ending. And I didn't expect to. I expected this to end in a manner for a majority of this character. But when it comes down to that conclusive nature that I'm wanting to feel, we will not get that until after these spinoffs. That's just the truth. We're still going to have the Rick and Michonne spinoff. We're still going to have the Daryl Dixon spinoff. And we're still going to have Dead City spinoff. So there's still a lot of stuff to deal with those characters. And I'm sure even characters from the previous Walking Dead show that just ended will also somehow intersect into there. And we'll be curious to see where that goes. But again, I like this finale. Seeing where everyone kind of goes. It sucks that Luke, and I think her name was Julie, died right in the early on, and they really just ran into that. I was like, holy shit, we are going into this. And even going in soon, I knew there was probably going to be one more death. And sadly, that was Rosita. Now, I've liked Rosita. I think definitely this season they were building her up. I thought, what's-his-face, Jerry was going to die. Especially after the end of last week's episode, but that really never went anywhere, in fact. But we didn't even see how they kind of went about. He just left, and I'm like, oh, that's the signature death, and it wasn't. But everything with Rosita's death, I actually thought was very well handled in here. I think as a character, they haven't really done a lot with her the last 2 seasons. This season, they did quite a bit, but not enough. So I don't think her death was super impactful, but it did get me emotional. And that's kind of the whole thing. This last episode very got me emotional. And I think everything written around the conclusive nature of where everyone is after the year later segment, the last 20 minutes, is important. To see where Ezekiel is, to see where Mercer is, to see where all of our characters have ended up now. I think is emotional to see that, and to see where those stories might continue for certain ones, like Daryl, Maggie, Negan, and things like that. And that's what makes me happy, is seeing where those characters ended up. Seeing how the communities are thriving and surviving, because that's the end goal of this all. And I do like that everyone really turned on Pamela at the end, and Pamela's now locked up. These are things that I wanted to see. These are things that I'm happy to see. Would I rather have had a bullet in the head? Absolutely. But I really love what they were able to do here and really moving along inside this whole interjection. But I as an emotional fan and just kind of seeing where this has all gone, you know, as a comic purist as well, because I love the comics and I finished them, there are certain characters I wish were still in the show, like Rick and Michonne, and I'm again curious to see what they end up doing with those. But just from what we had, I liked it. I can't express it enough how much I liked what they did with these characters and how I felt emotional with a lot of their send-offs and exactly just seeing them all happy. Like that is what I've wanted. And as a conclusive nature for this cast of characters, it's a good ending. I don't think it's perfect, but it's a good ending. And it's one that I'm happy to see where the show ended up going. And I'm actually curious to see where they end up continuing this show, because this is a show that I've always said could really run for a long time, as long as you have interesting ideas. And definitely they've dwindled in certain ideas, but maybe these new spin-offs can breathe new life into this show. So I love that. And I can't continue to just keep saying like the certain themes and messages in here, and specifically some of the homages that they had and some of the montages showing everyone we've lost, and even showing that conversation between Maggie and Negan, which was one of the most important conversations this show has ever had. I thought the writing in that entire segment was absolute top tier perfect, and I can't wait to see how that relationship continues to grow within Dead City, their spinoff that they're getting. It was an emotional conclusion to all that. And even the explosive finale, destroying the entire manor, Pamela's whole entire compound area, that was badass. That was awesome. I love seeing them when The Walking Dead goes like that. It just was nice to see everyone coming together. And it's nice to see that the communities are thriving, and that now they're looking out further, which is, of course, what Daryl's going to be doing. It looks like he's going to Paris, which that'll be interesting. I'm curious to see where Maggie and Negan end up, why they're going to New York, what's going to be happening there. Maybe Pamela breaks out and that they're going after her. But the ending with Rick and Michonne writing the letters is probably my favorite aspect of this finale. As conclusive as it felt for a majority of the characters that we followed the last 2 seasons since Rick has left and pretty much Michonne has left, that was exactly what I wanted to see. I needed something from them, and that's what hooked me, was seeing, okay, this next Rick and Michonne show, I think that's going to be kind of that conclusive nature for me as a Walking Dead fan. And to bring them back, and for a second when they were looking at it, I'm like, oh wait, are they together? No, they're writing 2 different things. And to see that Rick's still being hunted down by the helicopter and whoever that group is, I don't really care, but we'll see where that goes. And Michonne's riding off in the battle with this badass knight armor, which just sees her running to a field of zombies. Their reunion is going to be perfect. And I can't wait to see how that all comes to life and comes together. And again, from my understanding, we're getting Dead City first, then Daryl Dixon, then, of course, Rick and Michonne, which that could be, again, the actual conclusion I think a lot of us are waiting for in that show, is to see how they end up, where they end up going, and them being back with their group. And I think that's going to be the emotional conclusion that I want to see. And I'm excited to see that, because the one important part to look at this is, of course, that dinner scene of all of them going around toasting Luke, and then Rosita kind of getting her last goodbyes and taking in that memory. That is an important thing, because if you remember I think it was a couple seasons ago, we had that flashback where it showed all the characters eating at the dinner table, and to see how that homages to here is great. I mean, this is a show that I know a lot of people fell off it, but for me, I've like passionately still watched this. I've still enjoyed it, even with its ups and downs. And I think the creators itself knew that they had an uphill battle to give a conclusive nature, while also really much going forward with what the future of The Walking Dead is going to be. And that's exactly what I got here. So overall, I really liked this last season. I thought this was a good last season. It's not the best season, nor is it a perfect season, but I like it. I think it was a little bit rushed. It feels like they had enough story for at least a 12th season, but obviously with certain things behind the scenes, I'm sure that's kind of what changed their minds on that. And they just extended this last season, and from what I got, I'm happy with where a lot of these characters ended up. I thought it was badass. I thought it was action-packed. It was fun. As a Walking Dead fan, I'm happy about that. But I'm also really happy about the future and excited to see what they do with it next. Usually I'd be pretty pissed that they've opened it up, and I actually thought I was going to be pretty pissed on that, but actually seeing where all these characters ended up, I'm like, yeah, I want to see where Daryl Dixon goes. Yeah, I want to see where Maggie and Negan go next. And yes, I do want to see where Rick and Michonne are. So with that said, guys, I do have a ranking of all the Walking Dead seasons coming out tomorrow, so make sure to look forward to that. If not, if you're watching this on Monday, then the video should already be up, and that'll probably be up in the afternoon that day. But again, overall, very happy with this season, and I think a lot of you guys will be as well. So let me know down below what your guys' thoughts are. Hit that like and subscribe button, and of course, until next time, stay classy.